we've been practicing buyer agency since I started my career 26 years ago. And it's interesting because I remember distinctly that when I would talk about buyer agency agreements with some of my colleagues who had been in the business for a lot longer than we had, it was almost laughable. They would almost tease us or make fun of us for utilizing buyer agency agreements. And I remember hearing agents saying things like, "My buyers, if they want to work with me, they're going to work with me. We don't need to have a buyer agency agreement." And so conversely, I would pose the question to some of my more seasoned colleagues and say, "Well, why do you use a listing agreement?" Because if they want to work with you, just stick your sign in the yard and I guess they'll work with you. But clearly there was a need for buyer agency. And, for us, for most of my career, we've always used them religiously. My business partner, Robert, and I have, but we haven't used them so much as an emphasis on how do we get paid? Because the presumption was the system that had evolved universally throughout, at least throughout this country, had evolved really as a response to how to make the transaction happen and work and how buyers could be protected. So our emphasis has always been on getting buyer agreements signed, not to ensure that we get compensated, but to ensure that buyers are represented and they understand our fiduciary responsibility to represent them. So we always pushed hard on this document is what ensures you that we're representing your interests, not that of the seller. And even if you see my company's name on the sign on the property you're purchasing, what we're doing is representing you. And that's always been the emphasis. And the compensation piece was kind of like a sideline. Oh, by the way, here's how we get compensated. Here's who pays whom and how that works. It was an aspect of the buyer representation agreement. Fast forward to today, it's really interesting because the whole emphasis has changed. Nobody's talking about the fiduciary responsibility so much as how do we get paid? Make sure everybody understands how we get paid. And it's really a bit of a culture shock to see that focus shift. But at the same time, it's one we have to embrace, understand, and be able to clearly communicate it because the Department of Justice has demanded such.